Hey there, folks. Foggy here. This is day 130 of my year of solo board gaming, considered by many to be ill-advised and stupid. I'm sorry I'm not on screen. I'm right here, right back here. This is just a little bit of a bigger game, so I decided to take my face off screen and then just leave the area blue for whatever reason. Um, yeah, I mostly just don't want to be. Am I even recording? I think I am. Okay, sorry. My computer's been acting a little weird lately in combination with OBS, and that's creating for some unusual recording situations. So this is a game I've done on Twitch before. This is called 18 Holes. 18 Holes has a lot of different ways to play. It has a lot of different aspects to it, and it is not as much fun as Duffers. I'll be straight up about this. I think this was a very ambitious game, but there's some drawbacks, as you'll see, to it. It still should be fun. I'm going to show you how it works, or at least the solo mode. I'm not going to show you the solo chaos mode because the chaos mode doesn't make as much sense to me, and it doesn't feel like golf. Reading through it, it sounds a little bit more like just chase around the course, trying to collect things ahead of your two opponents. And to me, that's not as nowhere near as much fun. Three opponents, actually. You have three opponents in it. So we're going to do just a regular solo game. I'm going to do a smaller version of the game. So they give you this nice little course booklet here that has all sorts of fun, different courses in here, like Donut Sands, and you got the Glen and the Royal Yay, which is I think 18 holes. Yeah, and that's tiny for an 18-hole course. I mean, that looks like it is designed for just an enormously short course. We're going to be doing a 9-hole course. Let's see, which one was I going to do? A lot of these are 18 holes. There are a couple 9s, though. And just for the sake of time, I think I'm going to show you the 9 one. Where was it? Not Spiral. Sandy 9. Here we go. Sandy 9. So the way that each course is depicted, you'll have a series of tiles that all have numbers on them. And then they give you this little area down here that shows you all the tiles in order. Now, these are all numbered tiles, and it is a good idea to keep them in order because it can be really annoying to sort of sift through these. So I'm going to go through 1, 2. We're skipping 3 and 4. We've got 5. We're skipping 6 and 7. We've got 8. We're jumping all the way down to 14. There's 14. We're skipping 15. We're going 16. We're skipping 17, going 18, 19, skipping 20, 21, 22, skipping 23, going 24, 25, then skipping all the way down to 30, 31, skipping a few more, so 35, 36, 38, 39, 40, we're skipping 41, 42, 43, 44, and 45. And there are 49 tiles total, which is really frustrating because in the box that they give you, there is space for 4 piles of these, which means you'll have 1 pile of 13 and 3 piles of 12. So it's one of the more frustrating aspects of this, and there will be many more frustrating aspects that I will describe as we go along. And then what you do is you take your. I'm going to slide these over for just a moment. Then you take your tiles and you basically put them in this arrangement. Now there's almost always a clubhouse here, and this is actually going to be 1B this time, so we can start with that. And the way that they're arranged, actually, guess not. So the way that it's arranged is that you start with put it down basically A or B, depending on the side that's shown. In this case, B, and then you make sure that the bottom of it, whatever has the tile next to it, is facing in the direction of the red arrow. So 1 will go this way. And then if we want to, we can jump down to 42. 42A is this side, and 42A will go like this. And the idea is, as you're setting up the course, it's meant to, each hole is basically going to become clear as you're drawing these out. So 44A is going to be like that. And I'm going to start pushing this all down here because we're going to need space to be able to do this. And so let's go ahead and actually work up the column here. We got 14. This is probably the most time-consuming portion of this. Is just simply setting up the course. 16A. I have not found a way that feels really satisfying in terms of how to quickly set up the course, because they all do take some time to set up. That's 5B. You can see 5B is now facing down that way because of the way that 5B appears here. We'll put this over here. That might make more sense. So 21B. 21B next. There we go. And that is going to face in this direction. And you can see the path of the hole start to form here. In fact, if I grab 38B, 38B is right here, and that will go like this. And so you can see this is forming a nice path from there to the hole. 45A is going to go down here. We're going to do 8A. That's going to be like this. We're going to do 2. It's going to be like this. 43. Yeah, this is the part where if I were good about doing playthrough videos, I'd just do a little fast forward thing so that you wouldn't have to watch all this excruciatingly long setup. But I think that that is part of the game also. Like that's one of my frustrations with the game, is that this does take a while to set up. And I don't think there's any way that you could really get around it. I mean, it is part of the feature of the game to be this modular, and as a result, there's a certain amount of that you just can't avoid. 19 should be like that. And 25B will be at the bottom there. I think maybe if the numbers were bigger, I think it might help, because one of the things that takes some time is like just simply looking at the thing and trying to see, wait, which one is this one? Which one is this? There are rules for how you can set this this course up on your own. Basically, it tells you how many tiles you need to set up a course, all that fun stuff. So, for example, this one is a par 4. Technically, you're not supposed to have any tiles if you're setting it up, but just ad hoc. But the idea is then it's going to come down here. Now, this is interesting because this is just basically a lot of rough in between here. So you got to get from here to here, and hopefully not end up in the rough. Most of the area that you see here, let's see, we're almost done. We're done with the left-hand side, so I'm going to move this over here for a moment. 39A will be like that. 22B will be like that. 30B is going to be like that. We're almost done. 35A, like that. And then finally 36A, like that. Which is kind of weird. That's kind of a weird one. What's interesting is I think that's meant to go here, and that is just that's going to be long. So then there are little numbers here, and you have little flags that this comes with. And basically you're going to put these numbered flags on each of the holes. You'll see that there's little T's here. These go on the T's like that. Because you're looking straight down, that's going to make this really difficult for you to see. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that for 9. We'll do that for each of the other ones. So 8 is up here. 7 is over here. 5 is going to be over here. 6 will be right here. 4 will be here near the sand traps. 3 will be right here. Sorry, 3 is right here. It's the short one. 2. 1 is over here, and I think that's everything. There are a total of 18 flags. I have like 11, 10 through 18 as well. Finally, I'm going to put out the trees. This course actually seems well designed to avoid one of my criticisms of this game, which is it gives you these trees that are actually kind of a pain in the butt to put together. and it gives you 14 of them. And most of the courses have a lot more than 14 trees. And I feel like this is such a part of the game that I'm stunned that basically they just wouldn't give you enough pieces. Now, part of it is that it is kind of a pain in the butt to produce these. They're expensive, and they don't really add a whole lot to the game mechanically. Like, you could just do little tokens here, and then basically that would stop them, basically indicate you can't go over that. But with the trees on there, I think it's a much nicer appearance. So what I am going to do now is, I wasn't going to do this before, but I think, all things considered, this might be the right thing to do. We're going to get sort of a bird's eye view here. As soon as I can figure out how to lower my camera. There we go. So, back that up just a little bit. The same problems I've had with the camera just sort of tilting is, I think, going to be in full display here. Let's do that. It's not a great view of the course, but I think it's going to have to do. Oh, there we go. That might work. That might work. Got the left edge here, which you can almost see, but I think that's how we're gonna. That's how we're gonna go. Okay. So, fortunately, we don't have any traps or anything like that. There are some courses that will indicate that you need to add bunkers or traps or roughs or things like that, and they'll basically tell you which square. Like if I had 34A out, you would then basically put something right there. Now we've got a lot of bunkers on this, which means we're going to have to be cognizant of the bunker rules. In terms of the course itself, the playable part of the course is what you see, including the diamonds and sort of combined diamonds. Those counts as spaces as well. But like the off areas here, if there's no representation of any portion of it on the board, it is considered out of grounds. We're going to be playing with one of the cards here. We're going to do, I think what we're going to do is we're going to do Lucky, who can redraw one card, may redraw one shot card once per hand. And what they recommend is that as you're playing that character, tilt the character like that to indicate that you've used it for the hand. Now, what do I mean by hand? Well, to start off the game, you're going to start off with some clubs. Now, they have 5 numbered sets, so these are all the A clubs. And the A clubs are basically allow you to have a relatively good set of clubs that will cover a number of different situations. Same with the B's, D, C, D, and E. You can also draft cards, and then that's typically what you do in a normal game of 18 holes. If you were playing with other people, you would draft the cards, and then basically, you choose one, then the next person would choose one, and so on. There are some different things here regarding big hits, which we won't be doing a lot of. I just don't really care about stuff like that. And then this is a chipping wedge, and basically this would allow us to get out of one of the bunkers if we need to. And then when you do that, you're going to draw a card and then take a look at what the bunker motion is. Typically, you're just choosing cards based on one of these decks over here. The wood is the only difference. The wood, you'll notice, has hexagons, and what that means is that you can either move 1 or 2 spaces in any direction. And I think for the 2, it's a straight line. When you are on the course, there are some areas that are light green. These are considered fairway. The dark green is considered rough, and then these are sand traps. These are bunkers. If you're on the fairway, which is the lighter color here, you are going to be able to go 2 spaces. Each of these cards over here will have an indication of where the shot goes if you were playing from the rough, or if you were playing from the fairway. Bunkers are a separate thing, and we'll get to those if we end up in one of those, which is unlikely because of the way that the game is structured, but you never know. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to move the decks of cards. You can tell I wasn't entirely confident with how I was going to do this. This game can take up a lot of space. This is actually one of the smaller versions of the game, but one thing I do like is that they tell you in the game how big different courses are, so how much space a course is going to take up. You'll have a rough idea just by looking at it in the book. But that is kind of nice. And then there are some QR codes in there, basically, I think, that take you to what the course looks like once it is properly set up. So that's kind of cool as well. All right, we'll shuffle this. Then this way we'll have some space for Lucky and her clubs. There's Lucky. And what we're going to do for the clubs is we'll just simply lay them out like this. So we've got our pitching wedge here. Club, 2-iron, 4-iron, and 6-iron. And this way what we'll do is as we use each one, we'll flip them over. And we'll treat this much like New York Zoo is set up. If they're all flipped over, that means that we have no clubs left in our hand. We can reset them for free. If one of them is, we can reset at any time, but it will cost us a turn. So we can use up all our clubs, reset for free, no cost to turn count, or we reset them at any time, but it does cost us a turn. They include little golf buddies like that. I'm not sure if you can really see that. It's a little golf dude. There you go. That might actually be a better shot down here on the lower part. And it's okay. I mean, it's all right. I am going to go ahead and use my little panda here, who likes to spin. But we're going to use the panda here to indicate how the game works, where the player is, and then that'll help, I think, make it a little bit easier to see how the game is going to work. We're finally going to need some sort of scoring thing, and unfortunately they don't really give you a score pad, and you would think that I would have had a score sheet at the ready for this game. But that would require some planning. It's not something I'm good at. Hang on. Okay, here we go. Got ourselves a little score sheet here. Okay. So we'll do this here. We're only going to go 9 holes because this games are going to be long enough as it is. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then with each course, they give you both a par if you're playing it regularly. So this is a par 36. They also give you a solo count if that is going to be different, which apparently is not. There's no solo count on this. So I think this is just a par 36. All right. So we're going to keep a track of how many turns we take, and that's pretty much how we're going to go. All right. So our first goal is to get to hole number 1 here. Now you can see this is pretty far. We've got a lot of rough here, and this is going to be pretty difficult to hit, but I think obviously we're going to start off with our 2-iron. The way that this works is that we draw and play 1 card from either of the decks shown above, so the 4 and the 5. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw a 4, and we're going to draw a 5. All right. So now neither of these are that great, but basically this will take us 1, 2, 3 here, or 4 and here, which kind of sucks because then we're going to be playing from the rough. Now you can go in any direction you want. You could go that direction, this direction, and so on, but you don't want to hit out of bounds and you don't want to hit into a bunker. In addition, if I were hitting in this direction and we're using the 5 club, it would go 1, 2, 3, and then stop because that's where the tree is. So it would you just end up right there. Which means that we could get a hole in 1 on 9. We can sink this into the 9 hole and we're done for the game. We did it with a score of 1. Yay! Just kidding. All right, but we are going to use the 5. Because that is clearly we want some distance. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we go 1 over here. So we're in the rough, which is not great, but we want to try to get to that over there. So that is the 2 of irons. We've used that card. We're going to go ahead and flip that. Now, if I look at the way that this is set up, this is not great because we're going to either go 1 for, if we use the pitching wedge, we're going to go 1. But then we might have a good shot if we use our 4-iron to land here. If we use our 4-iron or, let's see, our 3-iron, I think we're actually going to use our 6-iron. We're going to use our 6-iron and hopefully hit it this way. Now, with everything except for the wedges, anything that requires chip shots, you can just say in advance, you can just say that this is the club I'm using and these are the cards I'm drawing. With the chip card, you actually have to say what direction you're going to go in. So if I want to use the pitching wedge, I have to take 2 of these, but I will have had to have said, this is the direction I want to go in. So there's a bit of a luck element there. All right, so what I said was I was going to take the 6 iron, which means we're going to take a 2, and we're going to take a 3. And the 3 is probably the one I want to use. That's simply going to be 1 and 2. And we're good. I think that is going to be fine for that. We now are going to chip it, and we're either going to end here, here, or here. I could say that we're going this direction and end one of these spots, but that is not a great thing to do. So we're going to say we're going in this direction, and hopefully one of the 2 chip shots that we get are going to be in a straight line. So that's not good because that's to the right. Super hit. Discard this card and draw a new card from the 3 deck. All right. So that means that we're getting rid of this, and we're drawing a new card from the 3 deck. So these are the 2 cards we actually have to choose from, which is not great, but we're definitely going to want to go with the 3 because we do not want to end up in the trap. And the 3 basically goes 1, 2. Because again, we follow the shorter one if we're in the rough. We follow the longer one if we're on the fairway. We were on the rough. So that is going to be our 3rd shot, and these get discarded. And then finally, to finish off this hole, because this hole has now taken a long time, we're going to go ahead and use our 8 wood and just simply go 1 space. Because the 8 wood allows us to go 1 in the rough in any direction we want, and we have hole number 1 completed with 4 strokes. This was a par 4 to begin with, so fortunately we are still on par. Hoorah! We now go and we waddle our way over to number 2. Now at any time we can just simply say we're going to go 1 hex. So really, if I wanted to just make this really boring, I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can end this in 7 turns. I can just walk over here, hit the ball just like 10 feet at a time, and eventually get in here. We also only have one of these left, and when we use this one, we're probably going to end up 2, 3, 4 here or here. And the thing is, I think I'd kind of like to go ahead and use the 4 iron. That way I don't have to burn a turn resetting the hand. So we're going to go ahead and use that. We're going to use our last club. We're going to do a 3, which is allowing us to hit it straight, and then 4, which is allowing us to hit it straight and then to the right. And again, with anything other than shipping, you don't have to declare your direction. So I'm going to take advantage of the 4 and go 1, 2, 3, and then slightly right. And that's not too bad. That's actually not that far from where I want to be, except I'm on the rough. So read that for what you will. I now do get to reset all my entire hand though, so that's good. I'm going to go ahead, and because I had no available clubs, I reset it for free. Doesn't cost me a turn, so I'm still on 1 turn. I'm going to go ahead and use the 4 iron to do a 3 and a 4, short, and a 4. So we're going to replace the 3 card with a 2 card. Now this means that we would hit it 1 ball forward. That's horrible. This means that we're going to hit it 1, 2, and then here, which is not the hole. That is not what I want. And actually, I'm not sure if that's really that great of a move to do. And the reason is that if I do it that way, then I have to get in here. Now, technically, I could just move. I can just move 1 hex. You don't have to actually use a club. You can just hit it that short distance. I'm just going to make sure that that is the case. Bring out the trusty rule book. You can always move your golfer 1 hex. Like that's one of the playing around on your turn, complete 1 action. Move 1 hex, play club card, attempt a big hit, exit bunker, reset your hand. And again, the reset your hand is if you do not have any clubs to work with. All right. Give you a nice little rule summary here. Selecting clubs on your turn, reaching the green. So I think we still have to actually reveal a club though. So we use the 4 and the 3. We'll go ahead and use the 4 and the 5. The reason that we're going to use that is, well, actually, we still have to do this move first. Okay, so let's finish this. We're going to go here. 1, 2, here, because we're doing the shorter version. So 2, 3, and 4. and then we have to use another club. That's going to be the 4-5, and then that means that we get to move 1 forward. And now we'll take that. And this 2 should have been down here. I'm sorry, that 2 should have been down here. This 3 should have been right here. So by you just going the 1 hex, because that's what we can always do, we've managed to land it in 2. And that was 1, 2, 3. That was 3 moves for a par 4. So that's not too bad. We managed to do that in 1. Now we don't have these 2 clubs, and we can't get them until we reset. But that's okay, because we're starting here. And I think I am actually going to go ahead and chip. And I am going to chip in this direction. And see if I can get a hole in 1. So no. No, not quite. So we're going to chip here. You cannot change the direction once you've actually said what it is that you're going to do. And then once again, we're going to go ahead and use a club, but we're simply going to move in one hole. So we managed to complete this 1 and 2, so that's good. We still have 1 club left. We're going to go over here to the par 4, which you'll notice is not that far away from here. Now, the problem with this is you can't really go off the panel. But you can go here, and if I do the 2-3, I'm hitting from the rough, and I think the 2 will either land here, here, or here. The 3 could land here, here, or here. So I think this is still a really good option for me, and then I'll play it from there. So I'm going to go ahead and use the 2 and the 3, the 6 iron, more specifically. All right, we got 2, which is not good because it lands us in the water. And then we've got this, which is going to land us in a sand trap. Yay! All right, so what we're going to do is we're actually, because we can change directions with the everything other than the chip card, we're going to go in this direction. 1, 2, 3, and look at that. Look at where we are. We are going to finish this hole pretty quick. All right, so that's those. That's now used. We have no more clubs left, so we have to reset our hand. Fortunately, we do that one for free. And we are going to simply use our 8 wood to finish the hole. That's going to move us 2 spaces. There we are. Look at that. We got the 4. We got that in 2. That was a par 4. That's great. We are currently, I think we are currently 4 under, so that's pretty good in terms of count. So 5. Where is 5? Oh, 5 is over here. 5 is a weird one. There's almost no green for this. Look at that. The 5's over here. We are heading this way. We've got trees and a water thing. That is going to be rough. We're going to just go ahead and slam it. We're going to use the 4-5 here. Super hit. Discard this card. Draw a new card from the 5 deck. So we'll go ahead and replace that. And then a 5 card there. So both of these are basically 4 cards forward and then either left or right. And I think for this one, so we can go this direction, believe it or not. 1, 2, 3, 4, and land here. Now, the reason that we might want to do that is that we can then hit from the green here, and that will allow us to basically try to end up in this area. It's a little funky. We can also try to go this way and end up here. And the problem is we're still going to have to hit over this water hazard. We can't hit this direction. So we got to kind of like work our way around that way. I think, believe it or not, we're going to go this way. We're actually going to hit 1, 2, 3, 4, and then go here, and we're going to be on a green. And I know, that's crazy talks, right? That's just crazy pants. That's what we're doing. But we used our 4-5. We'll now use the 3-4 and hopefully end up right there. That's what I'm shooting for. All right, so we got the 3. And we got the 4. So the 4 is a straight ahead shot. 1, 2, 3, 4, because we're hitting from fairway. It's not bad. The 2 is actually, I think, a little bit better. 1, 2, and then we'll end here. Not great. We might be able to use, we did 3, 4 this time. We might be able to get this in. I have a feeling it's going to be a par 4 no matter what. But we're going to go 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we're going to do the 3. 1, 2, and 3. We're going to end up over here. And that is our second move. We're playing from the rough, which means that we're not going to get much in terms of the way of space. We're going to do the 6 iron. That's going to allow us to draw a 2 and a 3. Super hit, draw from the 3. There's our 3. And shuffle. Shuffle the deck. Do not include this card. These cards can be a little bit on the annoying side. I think if I were redesigning this game, I would take out the shuffle. I would just get rid of the shuffle. The shuffle is a pain in the butt. It makes no sense. Just get rid of it. The supers and the subs are fine. Like, it's kind of fine that you might suddenly have a short shot or you might have a long shot. That's fine. The shuffle is just annoying. Short, discard this card and draw a new card from the second deck. Number 2 deck. All right, so after all that, these are the cards that we end up with. So, we have this will put us here, which means at that point we can just go ahead and use our chipping wedge and get it in. Here, we're just simply going to end up in the water hazard, and we don't want to do that. So we'll use the 3, which technically only goes 1 and then 2. Puts us right there. That was some insane stuff going on there. We've used that. We're going to go ahead and use our last one, our chipping wedge, but we're just simply going to move the hex forward. And that means that we've completed this hole in 4. All right. We're now going to start here. In the solo chaos mode, you actually have to take into account the distance between holes and tees. And if on your move you end up on a tee, you can actually get another move. So if I were here, I could say, you know, I'm going to use my 3 to end up here, and then I get to move again before ending my turn, which is kind of neat. So this is going to be tricky because this is sort of what they're talking about in terms of the tree problem, is that you have a big tree right here. Now you can chip. That will basically allow you to ignore the tree. You don't have to worry about that. I'm going to go ahead and chip, and I'm just simply going to go in this direction towards the tree. Everything else, you're going to go through the tree. You have to stop at the tree. So everything else would just simply stop right here. So chipping, we're going to go towards the flag, though. And we either go to the left or to the right. We'll go this direction. So that is our chipping wedge. And we'll go ahead and use the 8 wood to just simply move 1 hex forward. That it completes the 6 in a par of 2, and it's a par 3. So not too bad. We should probably just go ahead and keep a running tally of our score. Just a little bit less time at the end of the game. So we're on 17 now. We have a new hole over here. This again is going to be difficult, trying to slice through these 2 trees here. Looking at it, I think what I want to do is I want to go the 4-5. I want to try to get as much space as I can. Actually, I'm going to try something a little bit different. I'm going to try going with the 2-3. And what I'm thinking here is that I want to go here and then up. 3 is going to be difficult, but I think whatever I get for the 2 should put me where I want to be. So we're going to do the 6 iron. 2, that's just simply 2 forward. 3, 2 forward and then to the right, and that 3 is perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. So that uses the 2-3. Now we can go 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to try the 2 iron. We get a 4, and it's actually split. We can choose which way we want to go, which is good because this 5 would put us right in the, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't want to be up there. We do want to go 1, 2, 3, and we're going to end up right here using this one. All right. We have one club left. We've not used Lucky's ability once during this, by the way. We're going to go ahead and use that again. And just to move 1 hex forward, and that is turning that par 4 into a par 3. So we're on 20. All right. Club 8 is going to start all the way up here. We're going to reset all of our clubs. You do not have to choose a golfer, by the way. You can choose to play without a golfer. Some of the golfers make no sense in solo modes. Let's see, what do we got here? Dorian is kind of interesting because because you have 1 club that never expires, you never get that free reset. And that can be both helpful and negative. I've tried playing as Dorian with the 8 wood never expiring, and it just becomes ridiculously easy. Each of these characters also have a B-side. In this case, clubs never expire, so you never reset your hand. They're always available, but you can only have 3 of them. You've got Swift, which does not make any sense in terms of solo play unless you're doing solo chaos play, because -1 initiative on all shots and wins tiebreaks doesn't really come into play. Initiative, much like with Gloomhaven or with Dead of Winter, there's a little number up here on the top that indicates initiative. And when you're playing solo chaos golf, each of the solo opponents will have their own deck of cards solely for the purpose of determining initiative and whether or not you claim. And you, for those, you both have to land on the hole at the same time. You both have to be claiming a shot at the same time. And then this is the B side, and that is -1, but loses tie breaks, which is definitely a disadvantage. The Shark treats water hazards as rough, which is nice because normally you would treat the water hazard as a -1. It would take you -1 strokes to get out of there. But in this case, the B side cannot carry any wedges, so anything like the pitching wedge or the sand wedge. Slick Rakesh may borrow a club from another player. I have no idea how that works solo. And can use any discarded club, may only carry 1 club. That seems as a huge disadvantage. The Slugger can carry the driver and only has 1 leg, which nothing against the differently abled, but I'm not exactly sure how you golf with 1 leg. I'm sure that there are people out there, and I'm sure that there are inspiring stories, but that feels like a distinct disadvantage in terms of being able to move your weight and adjust your weight in this game. And the B side is must use driver or wood on tees, and the woods are the ones that have the specific set amount as opposed to drawing from the cards. So that can be fun. Bunjil may look at the top card of 1 deck, keep for the next shot, or return face up. And then this is may look at top card of a deck once per hole. And then finally, Iron Jane can only carry irons, max 4 clubs, no duplicates. And in the A side, she gets to select her cards ahead of time. So those are the different golfers. And again, you don't have to play with the golfers. They don't add a whole lot, as you can see here. So now with this one, you'll notice that this is over an empty area here, and you cannot have your golf ball fly over this area. So we cannot do like a hook that way. So we do have to go this way and to the right. So it'll be interesting to see how well that works. But we are fully reset because we were out of clubs and we're starting hole number 8. We will start with the 2 iron. So we get a 4 and a 5. The 4 is just simply go straight. The 5 is go straight and hook right, which is what we want. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we are looking really good. In fact, I think we're going to chip this one. We are going to chip this one that way. And try to get a 2 on this. So we're going to chip. Going straight that way. We get 1 that goes forward. 1 that goes forward. Which one are we going to do? So fortunately, we can land there. That is technically a space. So we will do that. And then we will have to use 1 club. We'll go ahead and use the 8 wood to go ahead and finish this off. Hitting it again just like 10 yards at a time. I'm hoping that is actually the correct rule. That was not very clear if you have to sacrifice a club when you do that 1 hex move. I'm assuming that is the case. But that is hole number 8, and we are 38 minutes into this. I'm glad I did not do an 18-course hole. So now we're going to start on hole 9, which is all the way down here, and you'll notice that there's a tree right there. So we have to figure out how to get around the tree first. I think this is going to require some creative hitting. So what we're going to do, in fact, there's a whole line of trees that basically keep me from here. I think we're actually going to play down this fairway. I think that might actually be easier. We're going to do the 3-4 first. We're not going to reset our hand, which is probably would have been a good idea. All right, the 3 is what we wanted. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, and here we are on hole number 2, which is the wrong hole. And then we've got a 2, 3 left, so we'll go ahead and use that. The 2 can either go straight, or we can go straight and to the right, and that to the left is not what we want, because that would be right into the tree. So we'll go 2 and we'll end up here. That's 2 shots total. We now get to reset our hand. We will go ahead and use the 2 iron, the 4, and the 5. So 1, 2, 3. We either end up in the tree or we end up in a trap. I think we're going to go for the tree because it will actually stop right before it. So this is the card that we're actually using. We do not want to end up going 1 forward and being in the trap. We could try to chip our way out, but we'd have to chip our way out first. We'd have to get out of the bunker, and then that would just be unpleasant. So we're going to do that. We're going to do 4, 5. So that is 1, 2, 3. 3 shots so far, I believe. I'm hoping that that is correct. And then the last part of this, I think what we're going to do is, because of the direction that we're going in, this is going to be our 4th shot. And then our 5th shot will just simply be to try to hit it right in. We're going to attempt to go straight. That one we can go either way. That one we can go to the right. So we're going to go to the right so that we do not end up with it in a bunker. And then we will sacrifice this last hole to move 1 forward for 5 shots total. So that hole took us 5, which I think is the par on it. Yeah, it's a par 5. So 28 is our final score, which, again, the par on this was 36. So we are 8 under par, which is pretty good. Now, this is probably the best version that I could have shown you. You get to use all the trees, almost all the trees. I see that we're missing a couple over here now. But you get to use most of the trees. It's an interesting game. I like the fact that you are not necessarily constrained to the fairway. I think a lot of golf games, this is just a very unusual thing to do. Again, with the Chaos Golf, it's much more of a pickup game. Where you're on a spot and there are a bunch of things around the board that you have to pick up, and it's not so much are you trying to play a round of golf, it's are you trying to get to certain spots on the board, and that feels less like golf and more like that just feels like a completely different game. The golfers, like I said, don't really add that much to it. The clubs are nice. Most of them have a fairly basic pattern of either having 2 things that you can do from different decks. You can sometimes get from the same deck. You can sometimes choose multiple cards. And some of these are kind of neat. The longest drive card is neat because you get to basically move 6 card hexes in a straight line, and then you get to keep that card. But you can see on most courses that's actually not going to be that helpful. There's nothing that really allows you to go in like across hexes. So like I'd love it if there was something that was just like go 6 hexes in any direction, changing directions as needed. Like go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. Like that would be kind of cool. Go 5 hexes and then 1 hex in a direction of your choice. Something like that would be kind of neat. The way that the bunkers work, if you ever find yourself in a bunker, which is pretty easy to avoid, you have to just basically chip your way out, and then you'll draw a card, and it might have like a little no symbol on it. It might have a symbol in that direction. You basically say which direction you're going to aim for, like if I want to go this direction, and then if there's an arrow, you get out, and if there's not an arrow, you stay in there. But that arrow would basically allow me to get out like that, and that can really add on to your total, which again, as you saw, not that difficult to avoid. So I'm very conflicted feelings. I feel like this is almost a good game, but given the amount of time it takes to set up and the amount of time it takes to break down and how long it takes to play, I think, and this is solo, I don't even have other players that are on the board with me. So imagine how long an 18-hole game with 4 players would take, where you have to figure out initiative each round, where you have to, and then if you get to the hole first and you're waiting for everybody else to get there, you have to wait there. Like I could be just like sitting there going like, come on, and here's the other player just going, can't get there. So that's just my feelings. And again, the trees are such a nice touch. They're such a nice touch. They add such a great 3D feel to it. But you didn't give us enough. You didn't give us enough for the. And I understand they were probably expensive, and it was probably an expense issue. But if you're going to have a course like this, give us 28. Like you should have given us 28. There should have been 28 trees in the game. And if a course needs more than 28 trees, so be it. But it is kind of ridiculous that there are only 14 trees, and most courses will easily blow past that. But those are just my ramblings about this game. The last time I put up a sports game was Duffers, and I got a comment. I think John, were you the one who said that you're not much for golf? I get that. It's not everyone's cup of tea. I don't like playing golf in real life, but I kind of wanted a game that had that feel to it. I kind of wanted a game that had like a mini golf feel to it, and this is just not it. It's a little bit too easy to... It's both too easy and too random. Like, there's nothing I'm doing skill-wise that says this is the... I don't think you saw me make a single decision in the game other than pick the most obvious right choice. Like, there was never a case where I was like, I wonder what clever move I could make here. I just simply I just kept drawing cards. And that has a bit of a Candyland-like feel to it. Like, obviously a bit more advanced than that, but there is that. There is that. Like, there was never a case where I was this far away from the hole. I'm going to be like, I wonder if I should use the wood here. Of course I'm not going to use the wood. I might use, maybe there are some situations where you want to use the wood to go a little bit, but then use the iron to go really far. Like, that's what might put you on a better track, especially where things you've got like this, where it's, I go one here and suddenly I can hit this way. But it's just, yeah. I really wanted to like this. I really did. I think this might be upside down too. Oh yeah, I think that was upside down. That's my bad. It wouldn't have made a difference. We didn't go through there. That makes a little bit more sense. I like the modularity of it, but again, like, you gave us spots for 4 spaces in here, and there are 49 tiles, which means one tile will be sitting up and over of all the rest. So there's some nice design. Like, that's a nice thing. So you don't have to, it's easier to get the things out. And I like some of the other components, but you didn't include green, which I think, as much as I would like green in here as a color, makes a lot of sense. These are good colors as in backdrops. Like, these are all going to contrast well with the course. So I really would have loved green, but I understand why there's no green. Fortunately, I have my little panda thing that I can just use as a meeple now. And that's it. I'm done complaining and being whiny. It's about 45 minutes now for the video. I'm going to go ahead and sign out. Folks, I will see you tomorrow, where I will have a game that I will be doing much less complaining about. Maybe. You never know. Folks, thank you all for joining me, and I'll see you tomorrow.